Labor's first shock was losing last month's election. Labor's next shock is trying to deal with that, trying to change, move more to the right. And that is proving a nightmare so far for new Labor leader Anthony Albanese. He's facing huge challenges on three fronts in particular. Now, the first is his move to kick out of the Labor Party a union official, an official of one of the biggest unions, biggest donors to Labor. That's brave. The man Albanese once sacked is John Setka, Victorian Secretary of the Construction, Forestry, Maritime, Mining Energy Union.
And the idea that she should be denigrated by someone like John Setka is completely unacceptable to me as leader of the Australian Labor Party. And I don't want him in our party. It's that simple.
Well, that is such a huge change. I mean, just Setka's branch of the union, the CFMEU, has given Labor $1 million over 5 years without Labor once saying it's embarrassed by the connection, or we can't deal with you. And there have been plenty of reasons for years now for Labor to be embarrassed, to want Setka out of Labor. I mean, he has a heck of a record. Scores of charges and offences, theft, assault by kicking, criminal damage, assaulting police. He now reportedly plans to plead guilty to charges of harassing a woman, sending her very abusive and foul-mouthed texts. But that's not new behaviour. For instance, he was fined in 2003 for threatening a Grocon manager, telling him, quote, "I'll get you. I've got a 12-year-old son, and I swear on his effing life, you watch, I'll fix you up." In 2010, again, Setka was fined $6,000 for threatening two other managers. And his union branch, I mean, how many times has it now taken illegal industrial action, got whacked by the courts? So, why is it only now that we get a Labor leader saying, oh, suddenly, Setka, you're embarrassing us. You're out of Labor. And why only now do we get ACTU boss Sally McManus, who's there on the left being hugged by Setka, telling the bloke he also has to quit his union job, something a dozen other unions now say as well. Well, initially the story of this reverse in opinion by Labor was that Setka had said rude things at a meeting about domestic violence campaigner Rosie Batty, the things that no one actually has got a tape of or a transcript of. But even if Setka had said that Batty, as reported, had taken away men's rights, he denies saying that, even if he had said that, why should that cost him his job and his Labor membership? You can't have an opinion now? You can never criticise St Batty? Well, how is criticising her more serious than kicking someone or threatening people? As it happens, though, it's not just Setka who says he never did criticise Batty at that meeting. So do people who were at that very same meeting, like Maritime Union official Christy Kane.
I was about 1, 2, 3 or 4 seats away from John Setka, and he certainly did not, under no circumstances, and I reiterate that, under no circumstances denigrate Rosie Batty. In fact, John has been a great supporter of Rosie Batty.
You know what I think is really going on? First, Anthony Albanese, unlike previous leader Bill Shorten, is not a man of the union movement, and he wants to put a distance between Labor and them. Good idea, but he picked the wrong excuse. As for the ACTU, it wants Setka gone because while he's there, he makes the unions a sitting target for legislation the government is itching to pass, legislation to disqualify law-breaking union officials. Setka is suddenly bad PR. Go, go, go. Trouble is, he refuses to go. His union backs him, and so do other far-left unions, who also say, if Labor gets through the Setka, it won't get our money. Millions of dollars are at stake. Now, that's not a big enough headache for Anthony Albanese? Two more problems. Labor before the election said no to half of the government's planned new tax cuts. Yes to the half that gives around $1,000 a year to lower or middle income earners, but no to the cuts to higher income earners. Now the government says, well, that's not on. Labor must vote for both parts of the package or not at all. And now some Labor MPs are freaking. What will it look like if Labor starts off under new management opposing tax cuts, even if they are for better off Australians? What will it look like saying no? No, Labor would still rather take people's money and spend it themselves. It's still a big taxing party. Learn nothing. That's why one Labor MP, Peter Khalil, now says, forget that, back it all. He says, my view is Labor should not block tax cuts that will benefit millions of working and middle-class Australians. Now, it's bold for Khalil to go public like that, challenging Albanese. And it's not stupid, this bloke. He used to be National Security Policy Advisor to Prime Minister Kevin Rudd. He wouldn't have told Albanese to back the tax cuts unless he knew he had lots of support from other Labor MPs. Well, the Liberals are loving all this, of course. Finance Minister Matthias Cormann. He tweeted, "Bravo, Peter Khalil. We urge all Labor MPs to follow your strong lead." So plenty of headaches here for Albanese, like I said, who's having a rocky start, already facing division. And I haven't even mentioned that third one. The pressure is on to also back government changes to the Medevac law that lets activist doctors bring over illegal immigrants from Nauru without even examining them, and with the government nearly powerless to stop them.
And this is Labor's law, and Labor should support the government to move in the Senate to revoke this bad law, because it sends a bad signal when you have a country like ours being dictated to by doctors.
Labor, I'll show you later the tangle that Labor's spokesman on this issue, Christina Keneally, gets in. What a joke. But, you know, altogether, Labor expected to be in government. Right now, though, it's in hell.